Hello YouTube, and welcome back to another episode of Train Simulator Classic, Train Z. Today we're going to be looking at the Milepost Simulations Arizona Pass, the Arizona Divide. This is semi-modern, pre-BNSF merger Santa Fe, so you'll get some new-ish rolling stock, but you can still get away with some classical look and feel. Go ahead and kick it off with I got the route more for the route. The rolling stock is nothing special, nothing stellar, nothing we haven't seen before entirely, but it is what it is, as some have said. But this is the Santa Fe's main line across Arizona that does famously connect with the Grand Canyon Railroad, running through some of the more famous places like Flagstaff, Arizona. For those of you that have gone to visit the Grand Canyon, chances are you went through Flagstaff. You might even stayed in Flagstaff, because the Grand Canyon is ridiculously expensive to stay in for the night. So yeah, that's more or less what I picked it up for. I've seen a good portion of this route just from my travels, and it's captured pretty well. It's, oh Lord. Now, to be perfectly honest, I'm not a big desert guy. I don't like the desert. I've spent far too much time in the desert. I don't find it very scenic. And for anybody that's ever had to drive through the desert, you know how excruciatingly boring this gets really fast. But, however, for Train Simulator, it's a little bit different. I'm long over Cajon Pass. That's a route that's been used and abused ever since I picked up and got into Railworks, way back when you could still buy the disc at Walmart. But let's see, information. The route is about 92 miles long. Track speeds up to 70 miles an hour. Grades, I believe the max grade is about 1.4 or 1.5%, which is nothing necessarily wild. Those of you that have followed, you've seen I do narrow gauge now and then. Those are proper grades. 1.4 is not too bad. It's nothing wildly challenging. I believe it runs from Winslow to Williams, Arizona. Let's see, what are some places we get to see along this line? Canyon Diablo, Flagstaff, Williams Junction, Williams, Phoenix. Yeah, those are pretty decent places. Now the scenery does change a little bit. It's not, the whole line is not this flat desert, I do promise. Now I unfortunately do not have the time to run across this entire line. We'd be here all day for a video, but the whole line does not look like this flat, desolate desert, but a good bit of it is. A good bit of Arizona is like this, but it's pretty well done overall. Rolling stock wise, this is represented Santa Fe around the late the early to mid 90s. Yeah, so I believe this is supposed to represent like 93, 94, somewhere around that area. So you will get a B48-W and an SD40-2. I know, surprise. And an F45, which I've got sit back there for testing purposes in a little bit. But yeah, the F45 is a little different. We got the Burlington Northern model for I believe Marias Pass a while back, so it's nothing necessarily new, albeit it is kind of an untouched model. We got the BN model and that was about it, but quite frankly you can find Santa Fe reskins of the BN model already out there, so I guess yay. And then of course the SD40-2, which you are hard pressed to find an American route that doesn't come with an SD40-2. I'm sorry, but that is what it is. You want to talk in real life, I actually really like the SD40s. I'm a big fan of the look overall, and I love the way they sound in real life. In game though, God almighty, this model is long beaten to death. The sounds are pitiful, the modeling's pitiful, the locomotive is so outdated, it's not even funny. It just, yeah. It's not aged well, and the fact that they keep pushing and pushing and pushing to keep stuffing this model down our throat is nuts. But you get it. And then of course the B40-8W, which is a little more unique. Me, to be perfectly honest, there's a reason I personally typically stick with older diesel locomotives and steam locomotives, because quite frankly, you could stick this thing and an ES44 and an SD70 and SD80, AC44, all those other models. You could stick them all in a line and I could not tell you the difference between all of them. I think they all look the same. They're just But for those of you that like this newer era of stuff, this is kind of a more unique locomotive to the pack. By this point, it's not necessarily new per se. We have seen the B40s. I don't know if we've seen the wide nose variants, but I do know we have seen the B40. It just, it's new era for me. I can't say that I'm entirely impressed, but model wise, they're alright. You'll get a handful of freight, which the the articulated trailer carriers here, these are cool. I don't know if these have been done before, but these are pretty cool. These typically come in like sets of 5. So those are neat. As far as the rest of the freight goes, is the box car that we've seen for so freaking long. That's it's a box car. I don't know. Nothing really new. Nothing new with these really. It's just different colors. Oh, these hoppers that have been around in the game for a decade that haven't been updated at all. These hoppers, which are probably the newer of the lot, nothing necessarily special. You get these hoppers with all the SD45s, probably a dozen of the US routes. Yeah, they're nothing really special, but they are what they are. these hoppers, which are again not really new, and it shows they haven't aged. Now, stake bed lumber cars here. These are a little bit newer model, I believe. These are another one that came around with Mariah's Pass, which are nicer, certainly nicer than these cars that are a decade old. But you know, they could stand to have some touch up by now, but they're not bad. Like I said, they're certainly better than what has not aged well. Now the the log loads. I don't know about you, but I ain't never seen a log that's been nicely edged off. And the tank cars that we've seen for years. They need to go away. They need to die. Steel coil cars, which again, they're not really new. I believe these are just painted up. These have been around since day one. These center beam flat cars, which first time we saw these were maybe with the SD40 Hino, if I remember right. These are pretty old too. Are they the worst thing on the planet? No, but they're not special. They're certainly nothing special. That's really about it. So really, you're not getting anything new with rolling stock here. You're here for the route, really and truly. If you're looking at this route, you're here for the route. You're not here for the rolling stock. Oh, I decided to work. Sometimes I can load in, and the turntable won't load until I physically pull up to the turntable and try to turn it, and then the asset will load in. It's just always an entertaining issue. Yeah, detail wise, I mean, there's not a whole lot going on out here. We're kind of out in the middle of nowhere. So let's hop in the locomotives and take a listen and take a peek. Starting with the B40. Now, I don't hate it, but in my opinion, it's just too vibrant. It almost, I don't know, it looks too computer. I know we're on a computer, but it looks too much computer. It's too blatantly obvious that it's painted, Photoshop painted. The red is just so vibrantly bright. It doesn't look too bad overall. I am going to uncouple from this SD40 so that, go rolling down the tracks here, we're not listening to it. The air horn's not too bad. Now, this drives me up the wall. This is not the first time we've seen this. Probably won't be the last time. It still drives me nuts. This is your camera range. This is as far right as you can look. This is as far left as you can look. You can look all the way up into the ceiling. You can look down on the floor. But you can't look further left or right than that. I despise when they do that crap. How are you supposed to do reverse operations? Especially with a single locomotive if you can't look behind you. Gotta hang out the window. I hate with an absolute passion when they do that crap. So first real complaint with this locomotive. I hate that. I hate that. The sound changes a little bit inside and out. Nothing drastic, nothing wild, but enough to kind of notice it. The short blast has a very abrupt cutoff, while you let it go and it kind of plays out. You hear the air going through the horn, which is kind of entertaining when you're in the cab. What can we fiddle with? What we got here? Instrument lights. Entertaining kind of blue hue. Okay. Anything else down here? Oops, there's some step lights. Boom. Boom. Some bright white LED wrongness. But, you know, to be honest, I expect the neon LEDs at this point, because it's been going on for years. Let's see, alerter. Bell sound does not change inside or out. Which, outside it doesn't sound too bad. Inside, nah, don't like it. It should be quite muffled inside. Sander. No? Sander doesn't stay on. No sand. Sad days. It's got this special braking that doesn't really play out well with the HUD. Headlights. Oh. How about now? Ah, the rear comes on. The rear looks horrible, but it does come on. I have no idea where our front headlights are. Interesting. How about now? There they are. Ugh. Yeah, those look disgusting. What about our ditch lights? You have to turn our ditch lights on at all? No? No? No, guess we do. Okay. So let's hop over. You kind of get a city view here, which is, yeah. You can kind of look around now. Can't fiddle with anything back here, but you can look around. And bam. Matter of fact, I don't think... Hey, that door opens. That's cool. Makes a nice noise. I'll hop over to our conductor's side, and then bam, back to the driver. Take it to neutral first, and we'll play through the I just played through all the notches there. I haven't really heard a change. So, our engine RPMs change, but the audio doesn't. Okay, well, let's take it to forward and see what happens. Boy, now that's some takeoff, boy. Yeah, I don't hear any changes. That's interesting. Brake sounds are alright. Ah, no real audio change there. Just a little bit. You hear that almost whine, but you don't really hear a change in the actual engine, which is gross. Quite gross. The ambient noises are alright, and the brake sounds are pretty good. The smoke is entertaining. The acceleration is wild. Next we got the F45. Right off the bat, any of you that have played with SD40s for a long time, you already know that sound. Nothing special. Inside, wow. Inside, it's bright. Inside is really bright. That is without a doubt an audio recording pulled off of like a video from 1970. That absolutely sounds like an old cassette tape video that somebody ripped the audio out of. And the bell that we have heard for years. It's gross. Nothing stellar going on with the sounds there. I can't get past this. This is neon bright white. Wow. So we got instrument lights. Can't really see those during the day. They kind of pop up faint yellow. Gauge light. Don't get. Oh, we didn't get one. Oh, there it goes. Wipers. No sound. The wiper hitbox is a little weird. Headlights. Front. Again, bright white LEDs that are just gross and disgusting. Maybe. Nope, dynamic brake. So we don't get to play with our other buttons. Nope. We don't get to play with nothing. Damn. Nothing at all. Wow. No doors. No windows. I feel like the BN F45 is better. By a lot. I haven't done a video on it yet, but I definitely feel like that's a better locomotive. That sounds interesting. That sounds gross. What is that? That sounds like dynamic brakes spooling up on a very different locomotive. But that's just a rolling sound. That's our idle rolling sound. Nah, don't like it. I don't like it at all. The paint-wise, the paint is better than the B40, honestly. I do like the paint overall. It looks better. It doesn't look so bright and light. It's got a nice looking weather overall. And the base model actually doesn't look too terrible. But woof, the sounds. And lastly, but not leastly, the SD40. Because I know this is the locomotive everybody was waiting on to see, right? Haha. Ha ha ha. Yeah, nah. It's the same panel sitting in the F45, except we get to play with the number board lights on the front. Just front. This looks like LED lights. And you can't see the difference. So, same core SD40 we've seen for years and years and years and years. Nothing's new. Nothing's changed. Nothing's updated. Oh, look, instrument lights. It's kind of yellow. The instrument lights are the best looking lights out of them all. Point. I don't hate the sounds from the bells, buttons, and whistles. Those are actually kind of nice. Let's see. Yeah, Sander stays on. And then the bell. The bell is gross. Sound familiar? Because it's that. That and that use the exact same audio files. They are identical. Other than that, look at this. It's a standard Kuju SD40 that's been in game for years. Wow. That is black. Wow. That is a black hole. Yeah. These have not aged well. These have not aged well at all. Let's see where we at. We're in Winslow Yard right now. This is kind of more southern end. And we oogie and boogie all the way along. For the first third of the route, it's pretty flat and straight. As you can see, it's just kind of rockets along. So you got sunshine. Little Y right here for Angel. Oh, darling. Darling. Flagstaff. More of Flagstaff. Pretty decently large area for Flagstaff. Along with a stop for your Amtrak operations. Belmont. Williams Junction platform. Numero uno. And then Williams Depot. The yards themselves are nothing really special either. I mean, they're pretty, especially Williams. Williams is tiny as far as their yards go. This is probably the biggest operation on the route as far as Belmont. And then of course the Flagstaff area, there's plenty to do, but a lot of the route is just open, straight shot. Winslow here is probably the biggest of your yards, and it's nothing too crazy. Not too bad, just nothing wild. Here. Matter of fact, is really nothing wild about even our train station here. Not a lot of ambient sounds, and the distant scenery. That's the part that kind of kills the route for me. So the distant scenery is... Ugh. So I get it, to keep performances on the computer decently high, you don't want to put your scenery too far out. Otherwise your computer's going to be struggling for forever to load. But when your route is so flat and open like this, you got to put some scenery out to kind of alleviate the barren look. I mean, we barely make it out of the yard here. That's an interesting road. But, oh, well, never mind. It gets interesting and we don't even leave the yard. Okay, so the roads float in Winslow. How about over here? Nah, road don't float there. Somebody couldn't park their truck though. But yeah, the distance scenery is kind of a killer for me. It just... You can clearly see it from the yard where the scenery ends. Which I don't think is how it should be. It should blend relatively well. But, you know, as you're leaving, we start getting out on the road, it doesn't look too bad. So we'll go into World Editor so that I'm free to oogie and boogie up the track a little bit here. Nothing's really going to change much outside of Winslow. It's all going to be relatively flat. Well, desert. So we go. Straight shots, computer struggles. It's got to load distant scenery. We'll take off a little bit higher here. Woo! Our first little siding area. Boom. I know, wild. Second little siding area. Boom. I know. It's so wild, isn't it? It's just flat. I have driven out here a few times. Boy, is it a boring drive. Flagstaff is a pretty area. IRL. Flagstaff, Arizona. Of course, the Grand Canyon is just mind-boggling. But driving out here, oh, God. It helps being married sometimes, guys. It helps. You can trade off and let your wife drive for a while, because oh my goodness, does it get boring? And I cannot tell you how many times I have fallen asleep driving out here. Nothing comes by to change the scenery, and the radio went out in my truck years ago. I haven't bothered to replace it, so in the dead silence, driving on and on and on and on and on, if you can imagine, it doesn't take much to put one out. But yeah, and the route continues on like this for quite some time. Well, our first little bit of wonkiness. Scenery's starting to change up a little bit. The ground's not so flat. Starting to see some ups and downs. The mountains off in the distance. Bam, a highway. Look at that, a real road. And a kind of yard. One of our first industries. I have no idea what this is. There's not even a whole lot going on up here, but there's a bulldozer. Couple loaders. Boy, that is a hell of an incline too. But yeah, it's one of your industries that you can kind of service. And we continue. Boogity 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 boo. The scenery is starting to get a lot more entertaining. Not so flat, not so much desert. A little more of the trees, winding curves. Another industry we can kind of play with here. Something a little more hopping. Not too much going on here, no. Another industry we can fiddle with. Looks like some steel pipes. Someplace else. Let's just keep on oogieing and boogieing. Flagstaff is really your big industrial area as far as doing some set outs and switching industries and such. Flagstaff's really where it's at. And the scenery's laughably prettier up here. Especially once you start getting up into these hills and into the mountains. The trees, the winding curves. I would say it's a nice blend. You get the curves, you get the mountains, but you also get the flat open stretches where you can really open up and let fly. So it's not bad. Overall, I like the route. I really do. For somebody that typically runs passenger operations, this route fits very well for what I like to do. The scenery's done pretty well, especially up in here. Like I said, once you get out of the desert, the scenery gets really pretty. But it's got a nice mix of trackage for guys that like to do really anything and everything, but especially for me, I like doing passenger operations, so there's plenty of room to really stretch out and run, but it's also not just a straight flat stretch either, so. Bellevue. So yeah. Just a taste of the Arizona Divide by Milepace Simulations. It is on sale right now. as of this moment, what is it? 4:46, February 3rd, 2023. This root is on sale for, I believe, like $20. And I'd say it's about worth it, $20. The root itself is really nice. And you might get use out of the freight cars. The locomotives, though? Nah. They're fat, nah. They're huge, nah. For me, anyway, they're huge, nah. I do not like them at all. But the root itself, I do highly recommend. And there's a ton of Santa Fe products out there. And BNSF product out there for you guys to swap up your motive power. Some Amtrak if you like your passenger services. But do go check it out. It's not too bad. It's available on the Steam store. And I think it's well worth it, at least pick it up for the root. Because the root overall is really nice. It's got a nice mix of entertainment on it. So hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you next time.